what about the contents? Because us, as an open university, we have a policy that we try to open as much as possible all the contents we generate, but sometimes we have the feeling, and we have discussed this in the conference, that nobody is using our contents. But maybe it's because they are not close to the students they need. And I think that Africa is a good example for that. Maybe even South Africa, that is the most, I would say, Western country in Africa. What could we do as Westerns in order to help people in Africa with respect to contents?
Okay, that was about 3 different questions,
well,
I think.
Probably.
It's been fantastic to be at this seminar talking about open issues and open content, because we are starting to explore those issues now in our own university, and so we have an opportunity to learn from the experiences and the mistakes and the wonderful things that other people have done. And I'm told, well, there's 2 things I want to say. The first thing, that I think one of the important things about open content for people in the global south, to use that term broadly, is it's an opportunity to put our content online. Because if you do an analysis of where the content is coming from, there is a serious inequity in the system. So one of the reasons that we want to do this is people are producing content, but they are not making it known. So the first important thing is to make it known. And then the second thing is to make it known to each other. Because what we find in our communities in Africa is it's like flights. If you want to go to an African country, you have to fly through Europe. And we don't want that to happen. If you want to read a colleague, you often have to read them through a publication that is published in a European or an American journal. So we want to enable conversations with one another through the availability of this kind of content.
And do you think Emerge, the conference, could be a tool for creating this community?
As you know, we're at a point now where we are really rethinking where we want to go with Emerge. We feel that it's done well, what it's been good at, but the context has changed, and I think people have come a long way, or they've started doing things in a different way. We hadn't thought about it as a specific place for content in the way that you're talking about, but it's something we could think about.
Because we have seen in the seminar that it seems that the future of education somehow is not just providing content, but allowing learners to create connections between the content.
Yeah.
So even old technologies like repositories that have been used for years now seem to have a second life, in the sense that maybe will be the places where learners will go to. So my question is, how can we encourage people to create their content, and what do they need exactly? It's just technology, authoring tools, etc.?
Oh, well, we know that it's a whole set of practices, and we know it's a whole set of resources, and the technology is only one part of it. It's a way of thinking, isn't it?
Exactly. One of the subjects we have been discussing also in the seminar, it's the 2 worlds, the formal learning and the informal learning. You know that academics tend to be really formal, so the way we teach, the way we evaluate this teaching, etc. But as we have seen in the seminar, informal learning happens every day, everywhere, anytime. So what do you think? How could we bridge both worlds and incorporate formal learning into informal one, or the opposite, maybe informal learning into...
I think I would answer 2 things to that. The one is about assessment. As long as assessment is in the form that it has traditionally been, it's going to be very difficult to change practices. Because at the end of the day, all of these innovative practices, there's a mismatch between the innovation and the new kinds of ways of learning and the informal learning and the assessment practices. So we are going to have to reward innovative forms of assessment. We're going to have to enable them. And in order to reward innovative forms of assessment, we're going to have to think about innovating and rewarding new kinds of teaching. because in many universities, and my own is one of them, if they are research-intensive universities and they want to be on the world stage, then innovating with teaching, unfortunately, comes second place. So I think a lot of those are systemic.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's the same case for us in our country. So research is always seen as the first option for any teacher, and then innovation, and then maybe teaching. But now we are talking about teaching needs. And one of the problems we see is that teachers need support. It's not just thinking of learners, but also
That's
teachers. Right. And in fact, Emerge is oriented towards teachers. It
is. We are the primary group of people we are wanting to work with is the learning technologists who work with the teachers. But of course, you know that very often it's the same hat or the same person with many hats. We also want to work with researchers, and we also want to encourage reflective practitioner type of research, action research.